that usually, or, okay.
I'm ready, Rhonda, when you are. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our regular meeting, Madera County Arts Authority Board of Directors.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming today. With that, I will ask Rhonda for a roll call.
Roll call. Director Poitras?
Yes.
Director Gallegos?
Yes.
Director Siebert?
Here.
Director Whelan?
Here.
4 present, and Director O'Kane absent.
Thank you. I will bring it back to my colleagues for any additionals like to add to the agenda. I don't see any. Legal counsel, do I bring it out to public to see if they have anything to add to it?
No, Chairman.
Okay, perfect. With that, I'd like a motion to approve our agenda for today.
I'll move. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Agenda passes unanimously. We'll do Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'll move into public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board in any matters under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action at any time present under the public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county and residence for the record. With that, I open it up to public comment. I see no public comment, so at this time I will close it and move on to our public session. 4A, approval of the minutes for September 23rd.
Move for approval. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to 4B, discussion and consideration to approve the Madera County Arts Authority's Treasure Report. I'll hand that over to Board Member Poitras.
Okay, very good, thank you. There's a couple of, well, first of all, just kind of give you an update. The account is in the process of being opened. We've sent the necessary information and materials to the bank for that to happen, and it's opening. Once that happens, then we will be sending invoices out to the jurisdictions who have money waiting for us. Also, I contacted Celeste Boyles as far as Celeste providing bookkeeping services, and she agreed to do so. She worked with the Arts Council in a similar role, writing checks. This will be more expanded, but she enthusiastically provide an affirmative in regards to that. Regarding the treasurer's report, there's an item in there from the 11/8/19 California State Controller Special District instructions, and they're asking that we provide our financial report by 7/31, which is 7 months after the end of the fiscal year. That will be a nil report since there were no financial transactions prior to 6/30/19. So that's what I have to report. Are there any questions? Okay.
Okay, I see no questions from my colleagues. Open it up to the public. I see no questions, so I bring it back to our board for approval.
Move for approval. Second.
I have a motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 4C, Going on to discussion and consideration approval of position for a consultant, including a section and timeline process. Mr. Poitras and Commissioner or Board Member Whelan, you two were appointed to be an ad hoc committee that looked into this. Would either one of you like to speak on it?
I will defer to Judge Whelan.
I thought it was Ray and me.
I did too.
Was it? Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
my mistake.
Yeah, I was thinking,
Board Member Seibert, thank you.
I didn't get anything from Bernardo Rodriguez, so I don't have it. I communicated with several people and got several names that were forwarded to Dr. O'Kane and no.
There we go. It was, apparently the microphone has significant artificial intelligence discretion, and when it doesn't want to hear me, it just shuts off automatically. But long story short, I received several names from several people. Those names are as follows. Linda Thomas, who's been associated as a vice chancellor at Hillsdale College. Another set of names included Shirley Driggs, who many of us know as having been associated with the Madera County Arts Council, and then Roger Leach, and Patty Manfredi's name was also suggested. So I provided those names to Dr. O'Kane, and we, of course, still have on the agenda information to describe what the selected consultant would be doing. At some point, we have to talk about money. There was another name, Mike Ford, and Mr. Ford's name was given to us last June, I think it was, when we had the workshop. So I'm not in a position to suggest to anybody what the qualifications of any of these people are other than what we heard about Mr. Ford 5 months ago in his circumstances, doing something similar to what we're looking for. But that's it. And then in my communications with Dr. O'Kane, we had a very brief communication regarding using some of the materials that we had received during that workshop, plus other information to put together, for lack of a better phrase, a job description. And I think that's also part of our packet today. And of course, details need to be discussed. And one of the things we need to talk about is, okay, I think, counsel, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't necessarily have to put it out publicly to invite people to get involved and volunteer their services. You know, perhaps it might be an option, but I think one of the reasons for us to have this committee and solicit some names from people who are interested and knowledgeable is to contact those people ourselves and give them an opportunity to apply and present their qualifications and how much that they would expect to be paid to work for a limited period of time as a part-time independent contractor consultant. But that's basically where I'm at.
That's correct, Chairwoman and members of the board. Sorry about that earlier. You're correct. There is no requirement, because it's specialized service, we can go about the process without the public bidding procedures. However, the model that you described is one model. You can send out the scope of services, amend a little bit what was used prior to best try to entice some consultants and maybe put in the dollar range or what we're thinking. So that is one model. You can request and send the request for proposal to specific individuals, or if there's anywhere known historically with the Arts Council or with the school district or with the county or with the city. If there is any other outlet, it can certainly be advertised, even though it's not required if that's the board's desire. But there is no specific requirement, so the model you mentioned is acceptable.
So at this time, council, are we looking for an approval of the position, including the selection and the timeline that we would like? Is that what we're looking for from us?
Yeah, I don't think any action in terms of approval of a position is needed.
Just
I think that,
discussion.
right, just discussion. I think in talking with Board Member O'Kane, the process for selecting a candidate, which has already been discussed, and then a timeline and a general framework was really what she had in mind that you might all be able to accomplish today.
Well, on that note, I mean, I'm comfortable with what I've read, which is in the packet as a general statement of what we're looking for to be shared with others. You know, the timeline for me is sooner the better. I mean, coming from my former employment, being on this board is incredibly frustrating because I can't make a decision now. You know, and I realize we're going to have to put it into the new year because I don't think we're meeting next month. But it seems to me that the sooner we get qualified consultants interested and we meet with them in whatever setting and start down that road, the better. Of course, part of that decision-making process is tied to money. Do we have any money from any of the public entities or the Arts Council?
We do. We have it budgeted. And as soon as the account opens up, then we will bill MUSD, the county, and the Arts Authority for funding for this year, and next year funding is been committed also. So there is a budget for the consultant. I don't have it right in front of me, but that has been budgeted.
So I guess what we're talking about, if I misunderstand, please correct me. We're talking about generally approving what we've read in our packet and putting it on the agenda for the January meeting, and in January deciding whether we're going to put it out broadly to members of the public and/or to a short list of names, in inviting them to come to a February meeting, and prior to the February meeting, giving these people a deadline to provide us with a resume and what they would expect to do based on what we tell them we need them to do, and how much they would charge us to do this. With an eye of making a decision in February or March at the latest. Does that make sense?
Is there any way that we can advertise this? It's on. I guess it doesn't reach very well. Is there any way we can, is there a place that we can advertise this? I mean, we can send out information of the people that have been mentioned here. It's already on the list, but there's where do you go to advertise this kind of a position?
Well, according to council, we wouldn't have to advertise it, Commissioner Seibert. It's a special expertise
Right, yeah,
to do
but
this.
I
and
mean
this
to
is-
advertise a position, not that we
Right.
have to do an RFP or anything like that, but to find people that are interested to apply.
So, Board Director Whelan, were these people just names that were given? You don't know if they're interested?
No, I
Okay.
don't. The answer is yes, names given, no, I don't know them, whether any of them are interested. So, you know, it seems to me that if we could advertise more broadly, as well as send out invitations to the people on this list that at some point we get the person we're looking for.
Does anybody, Chairwoman, I'm a creature of habit, my apologies. Does anybody recall how we advertised the engineering work that was done, the DOMA plans, was it about a year and a half ago? Does anybody have that knowledge? It wasn't something that I recall.
I think only Board Member Poitras, were you?
I have no idea.
The
I was
rest
not
of
part
us
that.
weren't on
Yeah,
at the time.
same here. And looking at the budget, just if this helps, that's part of the August 26th agenda packet here. The consultant looks like it is for the project coordinator, 60,000, up to 1/2 time professional to act as the project coordinator. So it looks like that might be the approximate budgeted amount for the consultant, 60,000.
So any ideas on how we want to advertise this, other than the invitations that go out?
Art centers are us.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the
We'd
Arts
have to know
Council?
that they had their resume and experience. And then we go through the resumes, and then we could select, maybe through those resumes, select people that we would interview.
Well, yeah, I think that makes sense because, you know, Linda Thomas, we don't know her, we don't know what her background is in regards to art centers. I know these other three and know that, you know, they're all great folks, but I don't know any one of them that has established an art center. And Mike Ford, don't really know too much about him, but I know he's local and has been involved in moving forward a lot of projects. But yeah, I think we definitely need to expand this list and do a more robust job in terms of determining, you know, or finding at least a short list of consultants that have been worked on major projects. This is a major project, and, you know, it'd be nice to work with some local community folks, but if they don't have the expertise, you know, we shouldn't even go down that road.
So with that said, Board Member Whelan, would you mind getting with Chair O'Kane and Board Member Seibert and coming up with some type of invitation, advertisement, and have that done sometime before the first of the year?
Sure.
Okay. So at the January meeting, the end of January, you would maybe have a list of people that were interested, because that's already, if you closed it before the week before we had the meeting.
Well, I don't think we can do that. I think that, well, the best we can do is come up with a mechanism to broadly invite people to demonstrate their interest. And as Ray just said, get their resume, get their statement of interest, and their desires for remuneration, et cetera, et cetera. And if we can receive that by January, then that would be earlier than what I suggested earlier, and that would be great.
Okay.
But, so, you know, I don't remember the buzzwords, but certainly any public entity has the channels to put in place the outreach necessary for acquiring professional interest. And, you know, if we could take advantage of that, whether it's through the county, the school district, or the city, that would be great. Because I know professionals, whether they be architects or other types of project consultants, pay attention to that kind of communication from public entities. I can see us piggybacking on that.
Okay. So we'll shoot for that as a timeline,
Sure.
and that you have a few months to get with Chair O'Kane and kind of draw something up and have that go out and report back in January. Would that be good?
Who's Cheryl King?
Huh? Chair O'Kane.
Oh, Chair, okay.
Chair O'Kane, sorry, asthma. I'm
No,
having a hard
perhaps
time
she's not the
talking.
only one who's ill today, but I can't hear too well.
That's okay. I made it. That's what counts. Anything else? Anybody else would like to chime in about?
The January meeting.
That
the
is-
January meeting date?
Chairwoman, that is one other item that was mentioned in terms of looking for, this is your action item from last year, adopting your meeting schedule. So one of the suggestions that Chair O'Kane made to Rhonda and myself was a suggestion for January. I can pull those notes here, unless you have that. Sorry, Nick.
Okay, open it to public comment.
Madam Chair, Nick Salinas, Chief of Staff to Supervisor Porter. So I'd like to offer some assistance. If I could sit down with the ad hoc committee, I'd be happy to do that and work on the scope of work, the job description. And then also what I can do is reach out to some of the common job search engines like Indeed and Monster and see what else people are using to find jobs. And then secondly, I'll reach out to our HR department here at the county to see if we can utilize their position employment services to list this position as well too. So,
Farm out, that would be appreciated.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Bring it back to council.
We need to stretch a little bit more so she can find it without being
Okay,
embarrassed.
stretch a little bit more. Any other public comment out there? Nick, you were supposed to talk slower.
Yep. I know it. Here it is.
Well, we've been doing these meetings the fourth Monday of the month. And I know we had some discussion earlier in the year about not putting these meetings too close to meeting weeks of the Board of Supervisors and putting undue restraints on Ms. Cargill's workload. But the fourth Friday in January would be the
Fourth Monday.
fourth Monday in January would be the 27th, yeah.
And thank you. That's exactly what Ms. O'Kane suggested. I would suggest that the board be asked if the fourth Monday still works or if they wish to change it. If there's an agreement, then Rhonda and I can prepare a resolution for the January meeting, setting forth the year calendar for either the fourth Monday or something different.
I'm good with January 27th.
Good with me.
Likewise.
Okay. We're all good.
Great. We'll prepare that resolution.
Perfect, thank you. With that, I bring it back to my board for any direction. We have it, and anything to add?
So let me get this straight. We're coming back on the fourth Monday in January to pass a resolution to meet on the fourth Monday of the month? Is that how you public entities work?
So what you did last year was you passed a resolution about your rules, I believe, county council, the rules state they meet the fourth, but you don't meet in May or December is what your rules say. So the resolution just listed out the 4 Mondays as well. So
Suspenders and belt.
Okey dokey.
Any other questions? Okay, member and staff reports.
Nothing to report.
All right.
Ain't got nothing new to say.
All right. With that, I'd like to adjourn our meeting, and we'll see you all next year. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.